Hello everyone, welcome to Alpha C Cube's daily market analysis. So let's start with our discussion. So what we are seeing here is a Nifty daily chart. So in our previous videos we had discussed that we are seeing some supply getting in here around this zone. So according to that analysis we are seeing that price has come down very swiftly from last 3 days. Today also we can see that there is a big red candle in Nifty candle. So one important observation what we need to make here is we are approaching this zone which we had discussed in our previous video as well. So we need to be very cautious as we are approaching this important zone. So what might happen is we can see some demand get in here and we can see prices bouncing back from this zone. Why? Because we have seen buyers defending in this zone when we have come back previously. So same thing is expected again by buyers. So even if that is happening, we cannot trust that kind of bounce for very long term, because see, just ask the question why we are coming back to this zone again. So once we came here, buyers defended and we saw some upside move. But what is the need for market to come back to this zone again? So that is the important questions we need to answer even if we see bounce from this zone. So yeah, that is one important observation which we need to make. So what might happen here is, one possibility is when we come here we see prices getting back or getting some bounce. So that is also one of the possibility, and what question we need to ask if that possibility is, we have already discussed. So other possibility what might happen is we start moving here without any rejection. So what will that indicate? So that indicates that buyers from this zone are no more interested in defending this zone, and we might see prices tanking lower. So in that case, prices can start scaling lower quickly. So what is the other reference which we need to look on the downside? So this zone, this will be the zone which we have to look for on this time frame, especially like when you are looking on the daily charts. This is the zone which you have to be cautious about, somewhere around 17500 zones. Yeah, so just keep in mind, if we start accepting below this zone, if buyers start giving up their zone, we can swiftly scale below that and go towards 17500 zones in coming trading sessions. So that was from the daily charts. So now let's get into the profile charts. So what we are seeing here is a Nifty profile chart. So again you can see there was a nice downside move today along with the opening itself. We opened somewhere within previous days range, but initially there was some interest from buyers to take prices higher. But since that was happening within previous day range, that did not have much of importance. Soon as B period range extension was seen downside, after that you can see there was continuous range extension downside and price was moving lower continuously. So in our previous video also we had discussed that if at all we see prices getting accepted below this lows, like 17750 17950 zones, then it is advisable to go short or to stay on the short side. So the same way we saw some support coming in around 17950 zones, but that support was not enough to take market higher, and we saw some nice downside move coming in. So we obviously discussed this possibility in our previous video as well. So for next trading sessions, what are the zones which can play important support and resistance role? So coming this low is very important now. In our previous video also we had discussed this low will be very crucial. Why? Because this is the zone where we have matching lows, like this, the 23rd December low is also matching with 26th December. What does that mean is, sellers before we had some strong selling coming in, so sellers might have got exhausted here. So and we have see some prices moving up. So now again there is some possibility that sellers might get exhausted same zone, or sellers who are from the shorter time frame can start booking their profit looking at this visual reference. So there is some demand expected to come in around this lows, somewhere around 17800 zones. So just keep eye on that zone. So if we can see some demand like that, looking at the current scenario, that bounce should be used to create short positions obviously. But if at all we see some prices accepting here and not seeing any rejections, if this is not happening, then be cautious with your long positions. Just try to avoid long positions here, because we are breaking zones which are very important. So this can bring in lot of supply once we start accepting below 17,800 zones. Just keep yourself cautious about around these zones. Look for how market develops here, and create your positions accordingly. So right now it looks like the trend is completely under sellers control, and it is good to be on the short side as of now. So yeah, that was from the profile charts. Now what we are seeing is a 5 minutes chart. So you can see that we did not we somehow started above previous day's VWAP. Since previous day was trending day, this VWAP was actually important. We tried, buyers tried scaling above previous day's VWAP, but what we saw is immediate rejection. There was some immediate rejection as soon as we approach 18,140 zones, and prices started quickly scaling below day's low. So that indicates that all buying coming here is from the very short term, or just because of sellers profit booking. So you can see that this pullback to VWAP, not to exactly to VWAP, but there was some bounce. All bounces are getting sold here. So this clearly says that the trend is in under control of sellers. So yeah, that was from 5 minutes chart. Just keep for intraday perspective, just keep look on this zone as well, 17,980 zones, because since we also have today some trending move to downside, this wave up also can be very crucial for coming trading sessions. If at all we accept above this wave up, that can bring in some demand. Again, that will be for a very short term demand. We cannot trust on that demand for much long time. So that was from the 5 minutes chart. Now let's get into the Bank Nifty chart. So again, Bank Nifty also, previously yesterday we discussed that this is the previous area of exhaustion where some supply is coming in, and this supply is getting strong day by day. So today also you see that there is a strong negative red candle happening today in Bank Nifty. So what does this indicate? That the trend is getting strong on the short side now. So people who are entering here might be from very high time frame. So in that case, what will be their target? They usually target this zones, like extreme of the other side. So the supply coming here might test this zone, may or may not happen, but that is one of the possibilities which we should be aware of. So what is that zone? 41,500 zones. This zone will be very crucial if you are holding longs, or if you are thinking of creating longs. On the short side as well, once we approach this zone, you need to be very cautious with shorts as well. The demand which comes here can take out, can be very aggressive as well. But since we are coming to this demand zone second time, again we have to ask the same question. We saw prices coming here, buyers defending and seeing higher prices, but what is the need for price to come back here and test this, revisit this zone? So that is one very important question we need to ask here. So yeah, keep an eye on this zone, 41,500 zones. Yeah, that was on the daily time frame chart. Now let's get into the profile chart of Bank Nifty. So again, you can see today is nice kind of downside move from starting of the day itself. At least in Nifty, we were trading within previous day range for some time, but when you observe in Bank Nifty, in B period itself, we have taken out previous day low. So in previous videos also we had discussed that this low is very important. Once we start accepting below this low, we had discussed the same zones like 42,500 zones. Once we start accepting below this zone, we can short, is what was our view from our previous videos, like which we did yesterday. So we also mentioned that this zone will be very crucial. This can bring some demand. So like yeah, there was some demand coming in, but it was not enough to take out some selling there. So what are the next references where we can tag? So again, this low will be very crucial on Bank Nifty also. So this is somewhere around 41,500 and 47,600 zones. Again, this zone is see why, because why 41,500 zone is very important, because that zone is important on daily time frame chart as well, on profile chart as well. So that makes zone much strong, because that more cautious. when we are approaching the zones where higher time frame as well as shorter time frame active, we need to be more cautious there. The reactions and the responsive activities can be more aggressive when we are approaching such kind of zones. Just keep eye on this zone. So if we start scaling lower below today's, today is what, 6th of January, if we start accepting today's low, then there might be possibility of testing 41,600. Once we start coming near 41,600, I suggest you cut your shorts as well, because we cannot judge the kind of responsive activity which can come around this zone. It is one of the possibility which can happen. So one possibility is we start, sorry, yeah, one possibility is we straight away take out this zone and start accepting below that zone, which can take prices much more level. This is one possibility which can happen. On the other hand, what can happen is we come here and the buyers from this zone can react very aggressively, and we can see prices coming up very aggressively, putting all the shorts under pressure. So that is also one of the possibility which can happen. So just be cautious with your short positions as well, as we are approaching that zone, which is very important on shorter time frame as well as the higher time frame. Yeah, that was from the profile charts. So now let's see on the 5 minutes chart. So one important observation what you need to make here is, in our previous video we discussed that we can go long only if we start accepting above this VWAP. Why this VWAP is important? Because we had some nice trending downside move yesterday. So if at all buyers were able to scale above this VWAP, only then we were comfortable going long, which did not happen today. We saw supply coming in exactly from previous day's VWAP. So this discussion which we made yesterday would have helped you to at least not to go long here. So again we saw some volume attachment initially here. Initial some sideways move was seen here, expecting some sellers exhaustion and price scaling up higher, but that did not happen. Later in the day we saw some strong supply coming in as we progressed in the day. So yeah, that was on 5 minutes chart. So again, since today also we saw some strong downside move, this VWAP is also very important, somewhere around 40, 42, 400 zones. Just keep watch on these things, like this. These are the short-term developments which can give you trades on intraday basis. This cannot have impact for very higher time frame like daily or short swing time frame trades. It can have just impact for a intraday trade. If at all Monday we see price accepting above this VWAP, then that can bring in some demand, or that can put this sellers in some pressure, which can lead to some short covering. So that can be the possibility. Again, that will be on the intraday. So you have to be very quick while taking such kind of trades. So yeah, that was from today's market analysis. Hope this will have some value to your trades. Thank you so much.